Hey everyone, my name is Ben Chaish, and way earlier in this year, a friend of mine named Steven Schultz tagged me in a video of his kind of everyday carry kit for photographers, specifically talking about wedding photography. I'm packing up for a wedding that I'm about to leave for in a bit and realized like, hey, I actually never shared what's in my bag. So we're gonna jump in and we're gonna find all the stuff in this particular bag, none of which is necessarily directly photography related, but obviously all of it is beneficial to me as a working professional photographer on a long wedding day. So here we go. The bag itself is the Quiver from Holdfast. It's basically a photographer's tool pouch of sorts. It has enough room in this area here for a lens each, or here I guess, and then in the front of that, there's also room where I've put batteries, memory cards, all that kind of stuff. So currently the batteries and the memory cards aren't in here, but all of the other stuff is. So while I don't have those things, obviously you can check other videos of mine to see what other things are in there. But for today, we're just gonna focus in on all of the other weird little detail things that come in this bag and kind of like what I personally bring. So we'll start with the pockets up here first. They're pretty big pockets actually, which is nice. So this is a lens cap and a body cap combined, but inside is actually basically like my little medication department here. So in here we have antacids as well as Benadryl, but the most commonly used one for me is just the ibuprofen because I end up getting headaches a lot when it's hot and I'm basically dehydrated. So one of my wedding day rules is that if anybody offers me water, I always take it because I end up getting dehydrated at the end of the day, and then, you know, dancing with all that is not great. So it literally just goes in and fits on the inside of a LEICA M style cap system here. So kind of odd, but it fit the bill for sticking it in here. Oh, this is another bit of a essential for receptions. So once the reception starts hitting and I'm doing party dancing, you know, all that kind of stuff, I usually take off my main straps and then just toss my camera onto one of these. So I just have a wrist strap. I walk around with a camera and a flash. So this works in with all the other stuff I have from Peak Design through Clever Supply Co. So yeah, really nice there. And then in the world of having a YouTube channel and a Patreon and Instagram Reels and all of that stuff, just have a GoPro with a little mount. I have a video about how I put this whole thing together, but oftentimes I'll just toss one of these on one of my cameras during a ceremony or just maybe portraits, things like that, so I can get some sort of behind the scenes work to either do for tutorials or social media. But while it's not the smallest thing in the world, it's been really useful. And then the last thing I have in that pocket is what looks like Portra 400, but is simply just chapstick. So in this pouch, we literally just have one of the flashes I use. These are the Godox TT350s. These are really small little speed lights, but I don't use them for a ton of crazy stuff. So it actually works out pretty nicely to have that in the bag. I also have a pen, just a good old Pilot G2. Lots of people don't have pens on them for signing a marriage license, for writing notes, whatever the case may be. So having just a pen that I prefer at least is helpful. I also just have this little Lume Cube light. I have other lights that I bring with me, but in case I just need a quick little boost, or even at the end of the night, I often just turn this thing on at 1% and it allows me to help look through my bag at night. It's also bicolor, which is super nice. So if I just need a quick light for something, it ends up being really helpful. I guess we'll just flip this thing around because we're almost there actually. So on the back side, we have this pouch, which I often will put my phone. I think that's what it's meant for, but I also have one of these little Anker battery banks that I can use with a USB-C cable to power, I know, other things or other people's things, but also it just slips onto the back of my phone, actually. My phone is right here. So It does one of these things. I'm sure a lot of you have seen these, but yeah, they're really useful to just give your phone a quick charge. And I use my phone for a ton of stuff during the day, from timelines to family photo lists, all that kind of stuff ends up on here. And then another quick hack is I actually will replace my background here with the timeline for a wedding day so that I can just pull up this and at a glance see it. I also used to do that on my Apple Watch, but that just took a lot longer, so you just do it on here now. And then in here is kind of where I stick all of, I guess, my tools, my actual tools. All of them have come in a lot, I guess, handy. So this is just like a basic photographer's tool that has multiple Allen key things. So this 5mm, I believe, is the one that works for, tripod, feet, and all that kind of stuff. I originally also bought this because I wanted to use this one, which is, I think, is a 2mm, for adjusting the rangefinder on my camera. It's only happened a few times, but it's just popped out of place, and I've had an issue with that. And so I bought this because I have adjusted it, but the distance here to here is not correct. So I kind of just need to maybe take one of these off and then just make this whole tool smaller and then just use this as a key and then put it in there. But it also has, just basic screwdriver, a flathead, and a Phillips. So, I mean, overall, it's just a pretty basic tool that I mainly just use for taking on and off tripod feet in the instance that I might not have one. And then these are a pair of ear plugs, basically, because every weekend I'm going to a wedding and just getting very, very loud music slammed into my ears. So having some earplugs is actually really helpful. They don't just completely cut everything out, so I can usually hear people pretty well with still having them in. So it just allows me to not absolutely destroy my eardrums, because playing in a bunch of bands when I was from ages like 14 till I guess like mid-20s, definitely already blew them out enough. So yeah, having these in for receptions, super helpful, and I really like having them. Also, this is the actual Allen key thing that fits onto my Leica M camera for the rangefinder adjustments. So I'm scared I'm gonna lose this, but it's what I have for the time being. And I think the last thing I have in here, is a little Leatherman Multi-Tool. It's the Leatherman Style PS. It has a lot of cool things, and the thing that is coolest about it is the fact that although it doesn't have as many tools as a lot of other, multi-tools and things like that, it actually doesn't have a knife blade, which allows me the ability to take it on planes. And I have other multi-tools and other, small knives and things like that, but I have to remember to take them out if I ever go on a plane. So this is a really nice one that still has all the things that I need for a wedding day, or I guess just in case, but since it doesn't have a knife on it, I don't have to worry about getting it taken by TSA. First off, it has this little doohickey here, which kind of works as a carabiner, so I can toss it on my hip or just like on the outside of this bag or whatever. We start out having these little tweezers, which is really nice, just to be able to grab things, I don't know, out of different stuff. If someone gets a sliver or is something stuck like that, that is really helpful. While this is the closest thing to a knife that this thing has, it's definitely not one, but it has a little file. It also doubles as a really small screwdriver, which, can be helpful. But also if I have to open a package or something like that, it definitely does not have a blade at all, but it works kind of like as a package opener for me in that way. But the main thing that is really, really helpful on this actually are these scissors. And they are really, really small, but can definitely work well. I mean, obviously they're not gonna cut a ton of stuff, but just for those little snags and things where you have to just like snip little bits off of someone's jacket or off of a dress or anything like that, those become super, super helpful, and is kind of the main thing about this. You also get this as a bottle opener. So a ton of times there is no bottle opener, and I can kind of just pull this out real quick and pop it off to help people out there. And then as I open it up, you kind of just get the classic tiny little pliers, which can also be helpful for, I don't know, random things. Nothing crazy, but it's definitely something that is worthwhile and I'm glad to have. So yeah, this is the kit that I take to weddings. All of basically the stuff that I guess isn't typically needed, but it's all those little things that after years and years of going to weddings, this is all the stuff that I have kind of slowly accumulated to find, I don't know, good ways to combat all of the extra little things that you might not think about. But if you are someone that also photographs weddings or just does events, things like that, let me know what you carry in your bag, and if you have any other suggestions, let me know. If you're interested in this stuff, all of the links to things that I at least have the availability to link to, I will put down in the description. Subscribe if you aren't already, and then I will see you all on the next one.